"You will never find it," she said. "It's far beyond your reach now." Her neck had grown long, stretching unnaturally. He saw a large ornate mirror on the wall. Curious, he approached it to admire himself as a king. "I didn't ask to look this ugly." In the dark night, Giza ran through the forest, clutching a strange calabash to her chest. Her heart pounded like a drum, and her breath came in ragged gasps. The trees around her were tall and menacing, their branches reaching out like claws. She kept glancing back, terrified that her pursuers were still on her trail. Giza knew she had to protect the calabash at all costs. It was no ordinary calabash. It possessed immense powers and could grant wishes, but in the wrong hands, it could cause great havoc and destruction. The witches were after it, and they would stop at nothing to get it. As Giza ran, she heard the witches' cackling laughter growing louder. They were getting closer. She could feel their dark magic pulsing through the air, making her skin crawl. Desperation surged through her. She knew she had to act quickly. When she realized she would be caught, Giza made a decision. She stopped running and took a deep breath. With trembling hands, she held the calabash close and whispered some magical words. The calabash began to glow with a soft light. Then, with all her strength, she threw the calabash far away. It soared through the air, disappearing into a swirling portal to another world. Just as the portal closed, the witches caught up with her, their eyes wild with anger and greed. When they saw that the calabash was gone, they screamed in fury as they surrounded Giza, their dark robes billowing like smoke. "You think you can outsmart us?" hissed the leader of the witches. "Where is the calabash?" Giza stood tall, her eyes filled with defiance. "You will never find it," she said. "It's far beyond your reach now." The witches' eyes glowed with rage. Without another word, they raised their hands and dark magic surged towards Giza. She felt a sharp pain in the chest and everything went black. If you are stumbling upon this video for the very first time, please consider subscribing to this channel and turning on your post notifications so that you never miss any video. Your support helps us create more content that you love. Now, fasten your seatbelts as you are about to embark on a journey that will leave you on the edge of your seats. In the land of Abasi, a man named Akumi had worked for hours on his farm. His muscles ached and sweat dripped from his brow. He finally sat down, exhausted, and started talking to himself. "When will all this hardship end? I am so tired of this life." Just as he was about to leave the farm, a glistening light caught his eye. Intrigued, he decided to get closer. To his amazement, he saw a strange-looking golden calabash. It was unlike anything he has ever seen. The calabash had a face with eyes and mouth. Akumi was scared, but his curiosity got the better of him. He picked up the calabash, feeling a strange power emanating from it. "What is this?" he wondered aloud. "I have to find out more about it." When he got home, he showed the calabash to his wife, Bibi. Her eyes widened in fear and she almost screamed, "Akumi, where did you get that?" she asked, her voice trembling. "I found it on the farm," Akumi replied. "It's strange, isn't it?" Bibi shook her head vigorously. "It's more than strange, Akumi. It looks evil. You should take it back." But Akumi was blinded by greed. "No, Bibi, this calabash is special. We can sell it and make a lot of money. We will never have to worry about food again." Bibi looked worried. "Akumi, please. This doesn't feel right." Akumi dismissed her concerns. "Don't worry, Bibi. Everything will be fine." That night, before going to bed, Akumi looked at the calabash again. He felt a strange compulsion to speak to it. "How I wish this calabash would make me rich," he said with a smile. He placed the calabash on a shelf and went to sleep, dreaming of wealth and luxury. The next morning, Bibi woke up feeling strange. As she looked in the mirror, she let out a terrified scream. Her neck had grown long, stretching unnaturally. She ran out of the hut in a panic, only to find that her mother-in-law, who lives with them, also had elongated neck and was crying in fear. The whole compound echoed with cries and shouts. Neighbors gathered, whispering and pointing at the strange sight. Akomi woke up in the commotion and was horrified by what he saw. Bibi and his mother looked at him with bleeding eyes. Akumi, what have you done? Bibi cried. Look at us. This is all because of that evil calabash. Akumi's heart pounded as he ran back into the hut. He found the calabash surrounded by piles of money, gold coins and jewels. Everything around the calabash had turned into wealth. He grabbed the calabash, his hands trembling. What kind of magic is this? He muttered to himself. I wished for riches, but at what cost? Just then, the calabash's eye opened and a deep, resonant voice spoke. You have made your wish, Akumi, but all magic comes with a price. Akumi staggered back, dropping the calabash. Who are you? The calabash's face twisted into a sinister grin. I am the spirit of old. Your greed has unleashed my power, and now you must deal with the consequences. Akumi's mind raced. He thought of his family and the horror that had befallen them. Please, tell me how to reverse this. I don't want this anymore. The spirit laughed. It is not so simple, Akumi. To undo the curse, you must make a sacrifice, something precious to you. Akumi fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. I will do anything. Please, just save my family. The spirit's eye glowed brightly. Very well then. You must give up your wealth. Only then will the curse be lifted. Akumi, blinded by greed, stood up and faced the spirit of the calabash. No, he said defiantly. I want the wealth. The spirit's grin widened. Very well, Akumi. But remember, every wish comes with a price. Akumi looked out the window and saw that the crowd had gathered in his compound. Bibi was explaining the strange events to them, and their expressions were turning hostile. He knew they would likely attack him if he stayed. Quickly, Akumi gathered all the money and jewels into a sack. He looked at the calabash, fear and determination battling in his eyes. I wish I could be taken far away from here to some place safe. The calabash's eyes glowed and the air around Akumi shimmered with magic. In an instant, he vanished, leaving behind his hut, his family, and the angry crowd. Akumi reappeared in a dense jungle. The air was thick with humidity and the sounds of strange animals filled the air. He looked around, confused but relieved to be safe. He still had the sack of money and the calabash with him. Where am I? He wondered aloud. The calabash's spirit spoke again. You are in the heart of the forbidden jungle, a place of great danger and mystery. Akumi's heart sank. But I said to someplace safe. The spirit chuckled. Safe from the crowd, yes. But you were not specific. Akumi, now understanding how the calabash worked, made another wish. I wish to be in my own kingdom, surrounded by beautiful women and servants, he declared confidently. Instantly, Akumi vanished from the dense jungle and found himself seated on a magnificent throne in a palace of gold. Around him were beautiful women, dressed in exquisite clothes, and servants ready to fulfill his every command. He was overwhelmed with happiness and pride, believing he had finally achieved his dreams. He decided to explore his new kingdom. As he walked through the grand halls and luxurious rooms, he marveled at the splendor surrounding him. Everything was perfect, just as he had wished. But then, he entered his personal chamber. He saw a large ornate mirror on the wall. Curious, he approached it to admire himself as a king. To his horror, he saw that his ears had grown extremely large, dropping down the sides of his face. Fear gripped him and he screamed. I didn't ask to look this ugly. The calabash's spirit spoke, its voice echoing in the grand chamber. Every wish comes with a price, Akumi. You have 2 wishes left. Akumi's heart sank. He looked at his reflection, tears welling up in his eyes. All for what? I left my family, my home, just to become a big-eared king in a strange land? What then did I benefit? In despair, he knelt before the calabash, his voice trembling. I wish for everything to return to how it was before I picked you up. The palace, the throne, the servants, and the beautiful women all vanished in an instant. Akumi found himself back on his farm, looking wretched and dirty. The golden splendor was gone, and he was left with the harsh reality of his life. He picked up the calabash and walked to the river. With all his strength, he threw the calabash far into the rushing waters, watching it sink out of sight. Relieved but heartbroken, Akumi started walking back home, hoping to reunite with his family. The bush path was familiar, but each step felt heavier as he reflected on his choices and their consequences. His heart was filled with regret and longing for his family's forgiveness. As he trudged through the dense foliage, he accidentally stepped on a venomous snake hidden in the underbrush. The snake struck quickly, biting his leg. Akumi felt a sharp pain and staggered, his vision blurring. He tried to call for help but couldn't find his voice. Within moments, he slumped to the ground and died on the spot. At the break of dawn the next day, Bibi awoke to an astonishing realization. Her neck, once grotesquely elongated, had returned to normal. She looked around in shock, half expecting to wake up from a dream. Tentatively, she touched her neck, feeling the unfamiliar reassuring contours. "It's real!" she screamed, her voice trembling with emotion. She jumped out of her bed and ran to her mother-in-law's hut. Bursting through the door, she saw that her mother-in-law too had returned to normal. The older woman looked up, her eyes wide with relief and astonishment. "Bibi, what's happening?" she asked, her voice filled with wonder. "I don't know, but it's a miracle," Bibi exclaimed, tears of joy streaming down her face. Without wasting another moment, Bibi ran out of the hut, screaming for joy. "We are back to normal! Everyone, we are back to normal!" The villagers gathered around, curious and excited. They looked at Bibi and her mother-in-law, and a wave of relief and happiness spread through the crowd. In the realm of the old, the witches were growing desperate. They need the calabash to achieve immortality and continue their acts of wickedness. The head witch, an ancient and malevolent sorceress, summoned her royal crow. "We must get back the calabash," the queen hissed, her eyes glowing with a sinister light. "With it, we can become immortal and unstoppable. Go find the calabash, my faithful crow. Search all ages, all realms. Do not return without it." The crow cawed in response and spread its dark wings. With a powerful flap, it soared into the sky, quickly vanishing into the clouds. This is just the beginning. If you enjoyed the story and would like to know how the story progressed, please consider subscribing to this channel, not forgetting to turn on the bell notification icon so that once other parts of this video is being posted, you will be the first to be notified. You can also check out those videos here. I promise you won't be disappointed. Till we meet again in my next video, remain blessed.